What if we could learn from outstanding leaders in business, sports, and education from some of the best voices in corporate America? Lighting the Path is a series of interviews with industry leaders whose stories highlight strategies that build purpose-driven cultures, engage and retain top talent, develop drivers that create high-performance teams, and connect people to the vision of your company. Join us to hear from game-changing, talented leaders whose paths make a difference at work and at home.
I usually don't go into a lot of detail as far as backgrounds because you can read about the guests that I have on the show, But I got to point some things out about Robin Mee. Robin and I've had a chance to meet because of both of us being in the staffing space, the staffing industry. And I love what I've learned about Robin over time, as well as the research I've done, because she founded this, and it literally is an award-winning executive search staffing company by the name of Mee Derby. And it's from founder to its prominence as being literally the source, the leading source of talent, a discovery within that space. She's the CEO of the organization today, and what's awesome about her is that, and I want to make sure I get this right. She's on the board of directors for the largest staffing association that supports the staffing industry, the American Staffing Association. Was on the board of directors for 3 years. There's a group called the Staffing Industry Analysts, SIA, which is one of the strongest voices as far as information data, whatever. She's on their in 2024. She was inducted into their Hall of Fame. She's in the SIA Staffing Top 100. And she recently has just been awarded into the SI Global Power 150 Women in Staffing, meaning one of the top 150 women voices and leaders in an industry. And I can't think of a more important person for me to be speaking to. So, Robin, thank you so much for joining us.
You are welcome, Mike, and I'm honored to be here.
So I'm honored to have Robin joining us today for this discussion. So thanks for joining us, Robin.
Let's get started.
Super. Robin, you started your organization, and I want to dive into something from a topic standpoint that I think is really important. It's the subject of remote work. And it's not just from a tactical standpoint, but what I love of what I've learned about your organization is that COVID caused a shift in the marketplace, didn't it? Where this whole culture got shaken up, workplace, where everybody wanted remote work and leaders were trying to figure out, how do I do remote work? You were doing and leading a remote organization well before COVID. That's been part of your business model for quite a while, hasn't it?
It has. Like everyone else, we started in a branch in Washington, D.C., right around the corner from the White House, but 15 years ago, and the company's 35 years. So, for a long time, we were in a branch office, just like the rest of the staffing industry. But 15 years ago, there were several different factors that made me think hard about the concept, about the idea of going remote. And it was not an easy decision, Mike. But our business, which when we started it was local, everybody came into the office. All of our clients were in the Washington, D.C. metro area. To fast forward, a business that was national, that we did everything using technology and the telephone. And of course, technology has evolved a lot over 35 years. And obviously now we're having this meeting using technology. We're talking through video. It turned out that all of my team was in the office, but nobody came into the office to interview with us anymore. And we had made a decision very early on to choose Bullhorn as our technology partner for applicant tracking. And we were one of the first 10 customers of Bullhorn. But I knew that then, I know, right? Great. That was a great decision. I knew then that I needed a piece of technology that was going to allow me to connect what even then was a couple of people remotely. Now, Mike, put it into perspective. We're a 12-person company.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had 12 people in an office right around the corner from the White House, and I got 12 people all around the country being connected through technology. But I just decided it was going to be a grand experiment. We were going to try it. We already had some people working remotely. We had Bullhorn to be able to connect us. We were pulling other pieces of technology in. And I knew that we could always go get an office, but we would try it. And from day one, it felt like the right thing to do. Now, again, it wasn't an easy decision. I actually did some some real deep diving to determine if the model was something that I could manage, that I could be proud of. I mean, 15 years ago, people looked down at the idea of people working remotely. It was almost like, you couldn't afford an office. You didn't have the resources to do anything else. That wasn't it at all. It was a strategic decision that ended up being a fabulous decision for my company and for the people that work at Mee Derby.
Yeah. So you move from a traditional brick and mortar type of environment to remote. The first question I've got on that is, what adjustments as a leader, what leadership shifts did you have to make whenever you no longer walking into the office and you can go and do, we used to call them water cooler conversations?
Yeah, the first thing was, I didn't realize this when I was making the decision, the model didn't work for everybody. And so there were people who transitioned out of Mee Derby because they didn't like working remotely. They needed that in-person, interaction. And I am a highly extroverted person. So the fact that it worked for me, but I was able to get as much as I needed this way, like you and I are doing right now, Mike, as I was walking the hall. The fact is, we get into our offices and we didn't have an open office environment. We didn't have cubicles. We all had offices. And, you get in your office and you're kind of siloed in there. You're doing your work, you're driving your business. And sure, you pop out, you might have lunch in the conference room. You do have interviews in that conference room on a regular basis. But when that stopped anyway, when we started meeting everybody like we're meeting now, that shift wasn't huge. The fact is, you have to be purposeful in your communication. And not only me as the leader to the rest of my team, but my team itself. So we ended up having to hire to the model and manage to the model, meaning this remote model. So we had to swap out some people, and that was probably one of the most painful pieces, because we don't have turnover at Mee Derby. We have really long tenure, but we've got a team of people who love working like this. And so as a group, 80% of our searches are partnered. We are constantly communicating, and it doesn't have to be that water cooler communication. It is substantial communication. We are using our phone, we are using text, we are using technology in a massive way, and constantly keeping everybody together. Right this minute, I am working in my Delaware home office, but two of my teammates are here. We're headquartered in the DC metro area, so there are 5 of us in the DC area. But Kim and Elisa are here. We are co-working together for 3 days. So we do come together. We come together every Monday morning at 9:30. We come together every Wednesday morning at 9:30. We come together for a retreat. We're planning our retreat right now for October. We come to conferences together, and then we are constantly in communication. So it has been an evolutionary process, but one that I have embraced, and this team has embraced, partially because it works. And we are able, therefore, and this has been a really important part of my leadership style and who Mee Derby is as an organization. We embrace employees. I call it employees for life, because I want to be able to support people in their entire lives. And I've got somebody that's been working for Mee Derby for over 30 years. Our chief of staff, Elise, has been here 24 years. Kim, our president, has been here 18 years. You do that by supporting people in their lives. So, when I first met Kim, she had a little baby and aging parents. And now her son started college 2 days ago. And, she was able to support her parents in their later and elderly years. And, whether it's somebody getting a master's degree, somebody raising small children, somebody perfecting their golf game, it doesn't matter. It's supporting people so they're able to be their best at work, and then live their best lives in general.
Yeah, I love what you're saying, because it's there's sort of two sides of an organization. There's the business side, and there's the personal, the human side, right? And so what happens is, depending upon the stereotypical culture was, we don't have time for personal, it's business. It's like that's a waste. This is business. What you're describing is the value system of that personal interaction is equal to the business transaction that's taken place. It's kind of the image that I'm getting. You're not running a social services group, so it's not more, but there's an equal value. Am I understanding that correctly?
Well, and beyond, and going back to using technology. So somebody in my team created a Mee Derby text chain, and we communicate on that text chain several times a day. Everybody does. Even on the weekends, people are sending pictures about their various activities, whether it's a child doing something, one of my teammates was making hatch chili salsa this weekend, and he's taking pictures of that and sending it to everybody. I bet my teammates know each other better interpersonally in our remote world, partially because we share things on our text chain. We are connected on LinkedIn, and also most of us on Facebook, so we get a little bit of a look into people's things that are important to them that they're sharing in their digital world. But also on our staff meetings, we've been doing this now. Now this is a post-COVID thing. We talk about, we have a question, and other companies do this too. We didn't make this up, but honestly, we have perfected this, where we talk about something that maybe it's a business thing. This week it was Monday morning. What are you going to do this week to drive new business? Because driving new business is on top of everybody's mind. On the other hand, last week I had read this article in the New York Times about Olympic athletes and the pursuit of excellence, but it was such a holistic article. So anyway, I read it on Sunday. I sent it out to everybody in the group text. I said that we're going to talk about this tomorrow on the staff meeting. We had the most extraordinary conversation. Everybody goes around the room, right? We're in our Zoom room. But in this case, we were talking about this Olympic kind of some of the takeaways from the Olympics, but how we're applying that in our lives and specifically in our business lives. So, and the vision, the opening you get into people's personal lives is really extraordinary. We know each other well, and therefore we have each other's backs, and we know how to communicate with one another in ways that are meaningful and really push business forward. It's a win-win.
Yeah, I love your leadership style is that you drive results through driving communication. I mean, it's
in relationships,
because that's what, in other words, I'm blessed. My wife just celebrated her birthday, and we had a big party for her, and I had so much fun putting that together. She's the best present you've ever given me. Got a great relationship. The challenge that we have is that in life is, if I do not talk to my wife, I do not have a relationship. I mean, it sounds sophomoric, but if you take that same concept and you put it in the workplace, if I do not communicate with my boss, if I do not communicate with the people who report up to me, the people I work with, I don't have a relationship. And without relationship, in today's culture, without relationship, you don't have engagement and you can't ignite productivity.
You are singing my song, Mike. So you recently talked to Joyce Russell, and she talks about people don't leave companies, they leave people.
Right.
And when you are in a relationship with your colleagues, it's a game changer. We've been doing a offsite retreat now for, I think this might be the 9th year. And so we didn't do it, kind of evolved from a holiday party, really, a holiday dinner to this, couple of days away. And it is as much team building and frankly, breaking bread and having coffee as it is, and a walk on the beach, as it is, the review of the year. And this year everybody's going to do a 15-minute lightning round of, something that they're passionate about. We do all kinds of things, but it is really about those relationships. And I've had, what I do. I mean, Mee Derby we work for companies and we find the very best talent that we can for those companies, but we also serve the candidates, right? And people who are considering, evolving in their careers. And a lot of people, the reason they want to consider new opportunities is because they're looking to evolve in their career and they don't see that opportunity in their own organization. And then there's, a myriad, millions of other reasons. But the I had a candidate say to me one time, my boss doesn't know the name of my wife, my kids. They don't even know if I have kids. They know nothing about me. And that is such a lost opportunity, because what is more important than to be able to support people in their lives so they can show up and do their very best, and
Very much.
also, again, live their best lives both in and out of work.
Yeah,
That's what I want. It's what I want for myself. What I have created here at Mee Derby, and part of this remote work environment is also one of flexibility, so that people know that if they want to volunteer in their kids' classroom, or they've got whatever it is, they are supported. There is we work 40 hours a week, and lots of times we're working more than 40 hours a week. We do what we have to do to get our jobs done, but we do it in an environment that is remote, and with that there is inherent flexibility. But we're constantly texting each other, off for 30 minutes, off for an hour, taking 45 minutes for lunch. It's this constant communication.
Wow. So
Constant.
so I'm going to chronicle this, Robin, because what you said is really important. I think it has to do with people are reporting. Here's where I'm at. It's like I'm stepping away for this period of time, not because of some dictatorial, I want to know where you are. It's because they're keeping the team aware of, this is where I am, what's going on, taking place. I think that's really important, that if somebody's listening to this right now, as we shift into this, how do I manage a remote workforce, because the same thing would happen if they were in an office, right? I could walk by somebody's desk and I'd say, well, they're not there. Well, if we don't have that environment, how do I communicate with others? And I guess I need to ask you, what's the value that the team experiences with people kind of reporting into each other?
Yeah, it's not reporting, it's really sharing, because
Sharing, better word, thank you.
yeah, because so if we're working, like I said, 80% of our work is collaborative. And so my search, I'm managing the client relationship, your candidate. So if I'm going to be away from my desk for 30 minutes or an hour or an hour and a half, you need to know it, so you know that you can't rely on me to respond to something in the next hour, because I'm not going to be sitting here in my work mode.
I like that.
Yeah. And so it's not reporting, it's really sharing, so we can be the most productive we can be in the amount of time that we've got to do it, right? There's this constant sense of urgency, yet there's also this need for cadence and patience, and frankly, to go for a walk at lunch, go to a Pilates class, eat lunch, take a break, so that you can come back and be refreshed. It's more just keeping each other informed than it is reporting, just so we know when somebody else is going to be able to be responsive.
Yeah, I love this thing, because I wrote this down, because it's not reporting, it's sharing, it's making people aware of, because for a team, you got to be able to rely on me, right? All right, you got to be able to rely on me, and I want you to rely on me. But if there's something I need to do, it's one of my favorite modules that I work with is Patrick Lencioni's 5 Behaviors of a Cohesive Team, and it's a 5-stage process, and the foundation of it is trust. You have a trusting environment. Well, trust, when I looked into it, was honesty. Well, that was wrong definition. It's not honesty, it's safety. Do you and I have enough of a relationship that I feel safe saying, I'm stepping away for this, and you not be judgmental, that, okay, Mike, some whatever, when he gets, but you know that when I get back, I'm going to attack whatever's going on, that I'm going to keep you in the loop, and that's safety. And that's what I love about this community. I said community intentionally, that you have as not a company, a community of people who really want to make sure that everybody can rely upon each other. That seems to be a heart of this atmosphere you've been able to create.
And it's collaborative and not competitive. And in our world, in many companies, and maybe this is maybe going back 10 years, and maybe it's not so prevalent now, but working collaboratively and generously with each other as opposed to competitively. Whose candidate is that? Whose client is that? As opposed to, let's move this ball forward.
Hmm.
And because we're all going to benefit from being generous with one another. You're being generous with me allows me to be generous with you. And that word trust is critical to the success of to this organization. It's not my organization, it's this organization and these relationships, because we have to trust we have each other's backs. We have to trust we're going to be representing each other in ways that we would expect. We're treating each other the way we expect to also be treated. And this is internal and external. We have to, that trust is the number one. And when so you're not seeing somebody being productive or not productive because you're not in an office, but the accountability piece, you've got to be able to, and we do have goals and expectations for everybody in the organization. They are transparent. Everybody knows.
When you say transparent, help people understand what you mean by that. How does it appear transparent?
Okay, so every time, so it's a very simple business we're in. We place people and we get a fee for that. I've got 12 people in the organization. 2 people aren't in executive search. They support us, chief of staff, technology and marketing, but everybody else basically runs a profit center. Every time we make a placement, first of all, we celebrate everything around here at Mee Derby. And again, you can celebrate remotely, and we do. We are using technology and lots of ways to celebrate. But so there is a document, and that document has everybody's, we call it the invoice register, right? Every placement we make, every fee that we collect, how that fee is divided up internally within the team. And at the bottom of it, it tells every person every month, really every week, if you want to look at it that way, how much each of these profit centers has billed for that month. And everybody's got goals and everybody's got expectations. And yes, we break it down into weekly activity measures. And obviously, those activity measures, the biggest activity measure in direct hire is how many candidates were interviewed by clients that week. That's the best indication of making a placement. But you can break it down further, obviously, in terms of candidates sourced, candidates interviewed, candidates presented. The activity measures of direct hire, every company's got them. So we manage through those numbers, and those are how people are held accountable. And they're held accountable in many other ways, but the numbers tell the story. We use technology to help us manage that information, but we're empowering everybody to do their job. They're not being micromanaged. Everybody's got the same goal in mind, right? Serving the candidate, serving the client, and in that way we serve Mee Derby by, as you so kindly mentioned, our goal has always been to be the leading search firm for the staffing industry. And so, every action we take every day is in service of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's, you're, as a leader, what you do so well is that you focus, I can tell from your discussion, you focus people on, I call them pulse points, because the reason people choose to follow Robin Mee as opposed to doing their own thing is because they like to have somebody to help steer a ship, and because I find some people want to steer their own ship, but some people, like myself, I mean, I could have gone and started my own thing, but I joined up with Steverson and Company because that's just the way I'm wired. And I needed a visionary like Tommy Steverson to be able to guide things and direct things. And you do a great job of being able to focus on the pulse points of what it takes for somebody to be successful. You've got a really senior group of people. So my question is, without specific examples, I don't want to go into that, but when somebody has gotten off their activities, their metrics, or whatever it is that their goals are, what have you learned to do to help a senior person get back in stride, get their mojo back again?
Right. So we've got we're a small company, we've got great management. And so Kim Whiteley is my president, and she is, we have she has weekly one-on-ones with the entire organization. I have weekly one-on-ones with she and the other leaders in the organization. We are generous with building everybody's profit center, right? So as the CEO of the company, I get a lot of referrals, candidate referrals, client referrals, business referrals, but I delegate, not delegate is a word, and it's a good word, but I am bringing somebody else on the team into every business activity, whether it's a new business activity with client activity, search. So I am not doing much search myself, but we're building everybody else's desks with great business referrals. So by the gift of giving, right? I'm giving you this client, I'm giving you this search, I'm confident that you're going to be able to do this. There's everybody drives their own business, but they get business referred to them internally. And so you've got to work, right? You've got to show up, you've got to do the activities, you've got to be excited and energized, and you've got to be able to basically, and this is a remote management tool too, but we manage our calendars really carefully. And everybody in the organization has, a stacked calendar of meetings and interviews every day. And it could be anywhere from, 4 to 8, 4 to 9, 4 to 10. I mean, depending on your day. So the constant level of activity drives the ongoing activity. So I think, if somebody's really off, they might need a little time off, but what they probably need is the support of management and making sure that we're providing enough structure for them to be successful by making sure that they've got enough to work on, whether it's, new searches or candidates. And then we have to make sure that we're giving them all the right tools too, Mike. In a technology, laden world, the management team here, myself, Kim Whiteley, Eliza, Diang, Jack Yobst, we're looking at so much technology on practically a daily basis. Just make sure we've got the right tools that we're invested in, that we can then make sure that the team has the tools at their fingertips to be able to find and be successful, find the right people and be successful.
Here's what Thanks for joining us today on Lighting the Path, Strategies for Tomorrow's Leaders. If anything in this podcast speaks to you, if I've challenged you, or if you want to spend time digging into this subject a little deeper, or if you disagree with me, reach out. My contact information is on our website, lightingthepath.net, or email me at mike@mikelejeune.com. Also, look for me on LinkedIn. I'd love to connect our networks. Keep lighting the path for those who choose to follow you. It's more than a responsibility. It's an honor.